So hello everybody. I'm going to be reacting live to some creepy videos. I know ahead of time I do not own any of these videos. They don't belong to me. They belong to whoever made them. So don't sue me. You don't want to sue me, believe me. Believe me, you don't want to sue me. You wouldn't want to. I don't have money, and you kind of have to have somebody that has money in order for it to work out. So, best thing is just to, yeah, don't do that. Yeah, we're going to be looking at the chat here. So we can see, we can actually see the chat. That would be very helpful. And now I can see it. Jolly good. Haha. So we're going to be watching some scary, 10 scary videos that will make you sick. I have watched Nuke Top 10, big shout out to him. He's actually one of my faves as far as YouTubers and that have paranormal stuff. Now I'm gonna keep in mind that when you watch some of this stuff, take it with a grain of salt, because they are not claiming, you know, people get upset in the comments, they're like, oh, it's not real, it's not the real deal, it's not the real thing, and it's just like, can you stop complaining? He never said it. Is it, because they give you a benefit of the doubt. They say, is it the real deal or is it an elaborate hoax? And they do that. Slapped Ham does it. Many people do it, and it's you know, just take everything with a grain of salt. And so FYI, I am I guess you could say a spiritual guru. I am clairvoyant. I am what you would call a medium, and I have some psychic abilities of some sort. You know, sometimes I know things without knowing why I know them. And I'm just gonna say, if you've been that child that's always been, oh, she's overactive, and then when you became a teenager, it was like, oh, maybe you need some different medication, or you're schizophrenic, or oh, you might need to get some help, maybe you need therapy. You're not crazy, okay? You're not crazy. Some of us are just more in tune with the spirit realm than others, and some of us have gifts, and they should be treated as gifts, not as curses or things like that. But for some people, it can be a curse, so I can't really speak for them. So we're gonna go right into this right here, and as you can see, you know, we've got this video up here, and so this is from Nuke Top 5.
Nuke's Top 5 viewer Ariel sent in this next creepy video. Now, Ariel says that strange things often happen in their home, especially around their cute little dog, Bingo.
Just to say, strange things always happen on TikTok. Did you realize that? I mean, I don't know about you. I'm kind of glad that TikTok's gone. I was glad when it was gone before, but now I'm even more so. Because it's like I was off of it for 3 years, and I tried to get back on it, and Facebook, it doesn't support Facebook anymore, so I was like, well, there goes my 10,000 followers. That's great. Awesome.
Doors in the house open on their own. Things mysteriously fall to the ground, and Bingo often seems to bark at something that she and her husband just can't see. One day, while Ariel and her husband are watching TV, this happens.
Yeah, that's us. It is friends. My family is sensitive, but it's so boring. What the heck?
Oh yeah, something like kicked it. Somebody kicked her.
The little dog seems to be pushed and then squeals in pain and absolutely freaks out, jumping on the couple and refusing to get off the couch. But just what happened? They have no idea. In this next video that unfortunately was posted online with no credit, a man says that his dog has been acting odd for no apparent reason for the last 15 minutes. So he grabs his phone and starts filming.
It's been freaking me out for about 15 minutes. I know, dude. What's going on? What are you seeing? Something's been spooking him. He's jumping around.
And you're just thinking,
This
oh, maybe the
dude-
dog's crazy. The dog is crazy. The dog's got to be crazy, right? It's the dog.
What are you seeing?
It's just the dog.
Why don't you back up? Charlie.
It's just the dog.
Calm down. It's okay. What are you seeing? You're freaking me out, buddy. Do we need to go? Should we go, Bubba? You tell me when it's time to go. 'Cause I don't know what you're looking at, but when we need to go, you let me know, buddy. What's freaking you out, bub? Okay. Should we go? Yeah? You leave when we gotta go. As soon as you walk out, I'll be right behind you.
The dog seems to bark and react to something that his owner can't see. But I have to ask, did you see it? Unexplained small dark shadows seem to be flying around the room, and the dog seems to be reacting to them.
Like I was supposed to see that? Like I was supposed to see that? Yeah, sure. Like the little tiny speck that looks like the shadow of a mouse going over the top. Like I was supposed to. I don't know. I think a lot of this stuff, I'm gonna say, a lot of the stuff they put out online, it's like something that they didn't quite catch the first time, and they're like, yeah, did you see that? No, I didn't see that. And the majority of these paranormal stuff is like, it's not as exciting as you think it is. It's really boring shit actually. But they part of it is like, did you see that? No, I didn't see that. Did you hear that? No, I didn't hear anything. And that's pretty much, that's paranormal investigating for you. But when it comes down to it is, it's scary when it's in your own home, and for sure when you don't know what it is and you don't understand the spirit realm. And that's why you should get people that do understand, like medium and spiritists and people that actually on a regular basis are connecting with the spirit realm, because those are the people that you want to have on your side. And I know a lot of people are thinking, well, go get the priest, but I've seen The Exorcist. I don't think I trust a priest. Okay, I don't know where his hands have been, what altar boy he has been touching, but I don't feel like having I feel like that's just not going to work, because I've heard cases where priests have tried to take over cleaning houses and dealing with possessions, and they just have a bad rap. If you're going to really get someone that can take care of your home, get a voodoo priest or a voodoo priestess. They know what they're talking about, because that's their whole belief system is based on communicating with spirits. Now, if you're wondering what voodoo is, it's not demonic, okay? Catholicism, when voodoo was put in place, was very much demonized by the Catholicism that was in Haiti at the time. And they were trying to bring back ancestor worship, which is very common in Africa. And they had migrated from Africa to Haiti. I mean, why else? Obviously, we see these people, in a way, that's why, I think Japan was at one time, very, very long time ago, like probably millions of years ago, was actually a country, they were one. So, it's kind of like Romulans and Vulcans. It's like they migrated, they're kind of the same, but not quite, because, they've deviated. They're very different. I can't say, to this day, I think Asian culture is very diverse. So I can't go up to someone and say, oh my gosh, you're Chinese or you're Japanese or you're from Singapore. I don't know. I don't want to make assumptions. So, because I'm not an asshole like that. But another thing is like what I'm saying is a voodoo priest or priestess, they know, how to cleanse houses. They understand herbs, they understand nature, they understand, and they whatever you've been told about voodoo, it's not It's not demon worship. There may be some demons involved here and there, but that's to be expected when you're in a spiritual, when you are a spiritual leader or a spiritual, you know, you're a magic practitioner. That's expected that you would, you know, have a connection. You know, you would meet a couple of demons. You know, I've met quite a few myself, but haven't had any problems with them. I mean, you know, what I do is I lay down the law. If you said you're going to be in my house, you're going to abide by my rules. If you don't like them, you can leave. There's the door. Go. You know, because if you can't respect my boundaries and you cannot be reasoned with, I don't want you here. You do not belong here, because the agreement, you don't mess with my family, you don't mess with my friends, you don't mess with me. Because I know how to put you back where you came from. And I've had demons shiver at that thought, because they're like, oh, go, no, she's the shit, she's for real. And I was like, yeah, you better believe it. And people are like, you're so lucky. You met a Wendigo, you met this, and you did this. And I was like, I'm not lucky. I just don't go out of my way to find the baddest of the bad, okay? I don't go to locations and pull out a Ouija board. I don't go to the most haunted place in the world. You know, I don't do that kind of shit. And it's not about luck. It's about respect. It's about my energy. It's about what I do. And I'm going to say, even in my own home, it comes down to kindness, respect, and patience, and being assertive, and being just honest as you can, because spirits love honesty, because if you're lying to them, they're going to fucking know. They're going to know. They're going to know your address. So just know that they're spirits. They have access to things that you wouldn't even believe. And that's why it's dangerous. It's dangerous with that. But one moment here, we're going to have, be right back here. Because, okay, that was not supposed to show up, but okay, here we go. You wanted to see the... Okay. So in case you're wondering, that's how the editing is done, yeah. Yeah. I am not familiar with the system, so you're gonna have to give me a break here. I don't know how to use the system just yet. I'm still learning how to use it. And so yeah, kind of the rough, but yeah, let's get into this. And I wanted to, next
The
time I'll
first
be
unexplained
ready.
dark orb appears above the window frame,
Oh,
then in
God,
front of
no.
the windows, on the ceiling, and even down the side hallway. Even creepier, when the man asks the dog, "Should we go?"
Should
An
we go?
unexplained female voice seems to whisper, "Get out."
Should we go? Yeah?
So did these dogs see and possibly even get attacked by something paranormal? Well, you
Yeah,
decide.
of course they did. What
Child's
do you think
play.
they did? Of
A guy
course
named
they
Chris
did.
posted this video that his mother captured during a family get-together in Colombia. While his mom is taking some candid video of the family, she captures something truly disturbing.
Ya estamos aquí en la merienda.
You are having dinner.
Tamalito con chocolate,
Chocolate,
queso, pan
tamales,
y
cheese,
mantecadita.
bread,
Buen
and a
provecho
shortbread.
para todos.
Enjoy your meal,
Mar
everyone.
se siente, no.
Enjoy. Thank you.
Usted le va a tomar la foto a los.
So you're gonna take a picture too?
Did you see it? While the family is sitting down to eat, a little translucent girl seems to run past the camera at a super fast speed, and no
Oh.
one sees her.
Oh, I
Now,
was
some
looking
people
at
in
that
Chris's
shadow.
video comments seem to think that this was simply a real child running past the camera, even though she seems to have a see-through head. But Chris posted another video to show that running through that area would be impossible, even for a child.
Esa es la sala, que es el comedor.
This is the living
lado hay
room.
una
On
pared,
this
unas
side, there's a wall.
piedras por
With some
donde
rooms
no sabemos
there.
por qué se
We
dirigió
don't know
hacia
why
allá.
it went that
Y
way.
aquí es el mesón.
This
Estaban
is the
diciendo
counter.
que
They were
el niño
saying
sale
that
debajo del mesón,
a
pero
child
es
was under the counter, but
imposible.
it's impossible.
Entonces
It's
si se
impossible,
miran el video
guys.
es como si lo hubiera atravesado.
It's
Hubiera
as if they went
atravesado
through
aquí
it. It
esto,
went
sí.
through it. Like this.
Chris says that no child was present during this dinner. So what is this?
No
In
niños.
this next clip, a woman named Anisha says that
No
late
niñas,
one night
no
she caught
niños.
something on video that made her blood run cold.
Look at the bottom right. The right. Right. Whoa, what was that? Okay, honey, I think you gave the kids too much sugar. Oh, yeah, we don't have kids. I forgot. Oh, then what's that crawling up the wall? Interesting. Yeah, that's cool. That's just awesome. Yay. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, that's wow. Okay, we got man. Yeah, I don't know.
Lights can be seen flickering in the background before a bright flash. But again, did you see it?
Are you having a
In the
rave over
flash, the
there?
silhouette of a young boy can be seen for a fraction of a second,
Are you having a
seemingly
rave?
looking up at the mirror. So did Chris and Anisha both catch a ghost child on camera? Or are these both some very strange camera glitches?
I'm gonna say that's fake, cause just the way that it's like the silhouette, it's so perfect. You know, this is just, and we're getting to the point where technology is just super scary. I think that's why we're scared of it, because we're making it too good. It's like, well, we need better technology, but we're being frightened by our own creations essentially, and I think it's getting quite ridiculous. It's just like, I get it, it's terrifying, but if you learn more about it, you might find out. I'm just saying, if there's going to be a robot apocalypse and your whole house is run by freaking, is run by freaking computers and AI, you might want to learn how it works, because, but it's getting to the point where we can't really decipher if like, it got to the, we don't know if these are fake or not, but I'm just having this sense that this is fake, this is for views. It was from TikTok, so you know that's what I'm kind of getting at, is I think that it's a fake, because it just, the way it appeared so suddenly, like the way it just went like that, and it just kind of reminded me of Tower of Terror. If you've ever been to, it was at Disney World as well. I think they've brought it back, but they made a movie. It was a really shitty movie, but I loved it as a kid. Looking back, it's super cringe. I was like, well, why did I like this movie? But it just seemed like a very, like...
Out with the property's owner. Soon after, the owner himself.
Okay.
Mysteriously
Technical
just
difficulties
disappeared,
right
never to be seen again. The other tenants believed the building to be cursed and quickly moved out, leaving the complex completely abandoned.
No! Why?
So,
why not just
Gachan
stay?
is all alone
Why not just
exploring
stay?
the old apartment of the property owner. Meanwhile,
Like in
Daichan
The
is checking out
Conjuring.
another
Damn it! I got
nearby
this house. I
building.
spent so
The
much
two ghost hunters
money
are
on this house.
talking
We're
to each
staying
other
here.
over the
Damn it!
phone as they explore. Suddenly, Gachan experiences
Something goes across the
something
room and
truly terrifying.
Okay, we're going.
これ
Get
ど
your
こ入って
shit.
も
We're
離れ
going.
てもオーナー宅じゃないっ
Surely it has to be the owner's room, right?
ていう、
Right? Right?
うん
Yeah, you're
だから
probably
ちょっとお
right.
互いその
So let's investigate
見つけ
the
た部屋を調査
rooms
す
we
る
both found.
何の音今の
何の音？
So as you can see, the quality is pretty bad because this is. Oh. Gacha? It's like gacha, but gacha. Sorry, my hello?
Gachan hears an odd sound and then looks up to see what looks like a strange face peering down at him from upstairs. He is
Just curious, I'm just curious. If you hear a creepy sound, do you automatically just look in that direction? You're just like, I heard the most harrowing sound. I heard a scream, I heard a knock at the door, I heard this and I heard that, and oh my goodness. I think I'm going to investigate. I'm going to do so alone. And it seems to be in all the horror movies as well as all the videos, they're just like, I'm alone here. I'm alone. I'm there's nobody home. There's nobody home. There's nobody. They say it. They sound like a skipped record when they're doing this. It's hilarious. They really do. They sound ridiculous, and but I can understand why they sound ridiculous because I understand that it's in the heat of the moment, and also they're probably in the process of overacting if they're trying to scam us. So they're probably going, you know, I'm home. But obviously, if your dogs are reacting to it and you are alone, I don't know. I just get this feel when things are real. I feel that this on itself, like, I mean, if I'm going to go to the beyond, I'm gonna say, I feel that this is, like the real deal. Like I've subscribed to this guy, and he seems to be pretty genuine. There doesn't seem to be like a lot of editing. I mean, obviously there's editing involved in every kind of video, but I don't feel like it's forced. I don't feel like it's like that sound wasn't really scary though. It was like, oh. I mean, it sounds like she's doing a vocal warm up. I don't know. I mean, it's quite possible that she's just, maybe this is a homeless girl, you know, because I don't know if you've seen the meth heads and the fentanyl freaks and all of that. If you've seen what death looks like, if you've seen the face of death, you've seen a meth head, and they look pretty crazy, and it's you know, I don't know what it is like in China and Japan. I don't know about their drug population, but I would say, you know, they have their issues just like we do. You know, they're not an exception to that. You know, they've got their obesity. They've probably got some other things that they have to deal with. It's just part of being a country. You know, there's this. You know, there's some people starving, some people not. It's just, you know, we have variety of economical issues, but I think the main thing is this guy seems to be for real. He seems to be very spooked. The reason I think that this is valid is because I haven't found anything otherwise that says that he's fake. So far, I've found him to be like the way that just jumped out of his hand was very. Like, he was genuinely spooked. He genuinely threw his phone on the floor, which suggests that he's not acting. He seems to be very frantic, and if he is faking it, he is a fantastic actor. So kudos on you, and you know, good on you for fooling us, really.
shocked, but as he moves to get a better view, there's nothing there. Gachan gathers his courage and heads upstairs to investigate. And this is when things get really weird.
That's what we do. I already don't like it. I don't like it. I don't want to be here. I already don't like it. So, a mirror stand? Yeah, you want to look in there and see something even creepier? It's not just a mirror. Are you okay? Are you okay? Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Kachan notices a mirror in the middle of the room, and when he lowers his camera to get a better look, he sees someone's bare feet standing right behind him. Kachan quickly spins around in terror, but there's no one there. At this point, Kachan has had about enough. He hurries back downstairs and outside where Daichan is waiting for him. So, what do you think?
So this is no criticism on Nuke. Nuke is fantastic. I love his videos. I actually, when I was looking for new stuff, because I thought I had seen everything of Slap Tam and all of Nick's stuff, and I thought I'd already seen it, so I was like, this is a new guy, and I just noticed that a lot of paranormal stuff was on his site, and I was like, that's fantastic, I'll have to check it out. And he does it concisely. I like how he clips them together. I like how he puts them out there. You know, I enjoy his style, but I'm just kind of curious though, like, I guess what I'm trying to say is like, if you're in a situation where you have to like look at what's there, like, why do you always say, I'm just going to ask you, Nuke, and I hope, don't take this personally, Nuke, like, why do you keep saying, and there's nothing there? Like, obviously there's something fucking there. I mean, obviously there's something there. I mean, or you wouldn't be so freaked out. I mean, something is there. It's not in our plane of existence, but I guess what you're just trying to do is to simplify it for, you know, us people that don't necessarily know about these things, you know, don't necessarily know these things. So, I guess that's what's spooky, but, I don't know. I don't do what you do, Nuke. I don't do what you do. You know, I don't do the editing. I don't know how it is, and I don't know who does your writing. You're doing a fantastic job so far. So, you know, if this is not a valid question, you know, you can just, you know, I'm talking out of my hat, but I'm just kind of curious, like, why do you refer to it as nothing is there when obviously something is there? But, like, I guess within their vision there's nothing really there, but I think spiritually speaking there is something there. So, I mean, obviously that's, but, you know, call me Captain Obvious for saying that. I know, it's just like, obviously I'm just talking out of my hat. But that right there, see, that's the reason I don't think this is it, because people that are genuinely scared and they go to investigate a sound and they figure out what it is and they go investigating not knowing what it is, that's very brave, okay? That's very brave. I remember, as a kid, leaving the door unlocked. Nothing ever happened when I left the door unlocked, thank goodness. I don't think we were either living in a neighborhood that just nobody wanted to steal from, or they just knew we were poor, or it just was a poor neighborhood that nobody gave a shit about. But, you know, we lived in a fairly decent part of town. I mean, it wasn't like the best place, but it wasn't the worst either. I remember living in this old Victorian home, and it was a duplex. It was set up from bottom to top to like, you know, a side apartment over here. So it was split up into like 4 or 5 different places. And I remember specifically leaving the door open, and my gram told me, "Will you go in there and check?" And I was just like, my heart was coming out of my nostrils. it was oozing out of my nostrils, okay? I was trying to figure out, I was going into the house and opening the shower and going, and I had to like push myself physically and mentally and emotionally just to get the curtain open and opening it. And I remember my gram saying, yeah, well, you know, you let them in, so if they're still in there, you have to deal with them. I should have called the fucking cops, but you know. Anyway, story time's over. Story time's over.
Did Chan and Daichan see the former tenant who passed away here?
I don't know.
Or
He's got
is it
Billy
all
Butcherson
just an
here.
elaborate
You notice
hoax?
that from Hocus
You
Pocus,
decide.
the bad zombie? He's got
The
Billy
book
Butcherson
under the
here.
boards. Amelia says that she has recently moved into a 250-year-old Victorian home in the UK. One day, she notices a loose floorboard, and she decides to pull it up and see what's underneath. Buried amongst the dirt and copper pipes, she finds a coin from the year 1904. She also finds a very strange old book.
Take it to the
How long do you
museum.
reckon that was in there for? It's definitely a book, but they're not like actual pages, they're like really thick.
The book seems to be an old photo album, but as she flips through the pages, the pictures become more and more bizarre. Some showing photos of empty rooms in her house.
The rest of the album is filled with pictures of empty rooms that have an unsettling feeling. A dark shadow appears in all of these photos.
Soon after discovering the strange old book, Amelia starts to experience very odd things around her home.
Did you think maybe that
And
you
it's
weren't
like,
supposed to show that to
they just
people?
stopped. And now it's
Or you
like,
weren't supposed to actually Whoa.
am I tripping out?
Defying gravity here. And there's not even a song and dance about it. It's just defying gravity. Right then and there.
Now, some video commenters believe the floating dart might be some sort of strange magnetic phenomenon. But what happens next is a bit harder to explain. Late one night, Amelia hears banging noises from her upstairs bedroom. She grabs her phone to document as she hurries upstairs to investigate. What happens next chills her to her
The
core.
Oh, Lord. Scariest footage I've ever caught so far. See, we're running. This one might be staged, but I don't know. Oh, no. Okay. I thought that would be staged, but how could two things be happening at the same time?
As Amelia enters, a curtain flies open and a pair of headphones that are hanging on her wall drop to the floor on their own. Now
Yeah.
note that this is the same room where the weird floating dartboard from earlier hangs on the wall. Amelia says she is terrified. She says that now strange things have started to happen in the house all the time. So did Amelia disturb some sort of spiritual presence in the house when she removed and opened the old book?
I think that the person that made this album, it was a family album originally in 1904. These are probably people that own the house, I'd imagine. Maybe they were married, maybe brother and sister, who knows? But probably what happened is this was documenting certain things that were happening, and just like anybody, they had the Daguerre. And the Daguerre, which was named after, I believe, the man that invented photos. And so what's very unnerving is the fact that somebody actually took the time to take a photo, because if you have seen period pieces, you know what it is. It took literally hours to just get things right. That's why all those people, when you see them in photos, are not very happy. Like they're always like, it's always like a prison photo, because you know, they had to be there all fucking day just to get the photo done, and it wasn't just like click and then here we go. It was very complicated. It was a very heavy kind of apparatus. You've seen it. It has this like accordion kind of thing, and originally the photos were upside down, and so they had to kind of figure out how to put that up right side up. And it was could be talking on my head again, but it was a complicated process. It was hard. And it's one of those things that I think and that's just dedication, that they actually captured whatever it was that was there. And what's impressive about that is just the technology was so limited at that time that they were actually able to get those photos. And from what I can see, the photos look a little bit, if you've noticed, they looked a little bit like later. See, these look absolutely ancient. This looks like, they just came back from the gold rush kind of thing. You got this, you got the Abe Lincoln hat, you got the, these long tresses, the long skirts you got there. So, but I think whoever it was very intent on letting people know that this was not just an ordinary house. It was haunted. And I also have this theory that I think, there's a theory that there are certain places where reality is just kind of thin. It's thin, and there's a lot of phenomenon that goes on. I mean, I have heard people that don't believe, that aren't like huge believers in paranormal. They're open to the idea, but they're not into it. They're not like into it like I am. And they'll say things like, oh, well, I think there's definitely some truth to that, and I think that's what a lot of the majority of hauntings are, is really not so much a soul, but rather we are just seeing a shadow of what is in that realm. It's very much the Tower of Terror concept. They're in a different dimension maybe, and what's coming up is a very distorted image. It's kind of like, how would I say it? It's like you're trying to FaceTime with someone that doesn't have a good signal or doesn't have a good camera. So, you're let's say that you're FaceTiming someone that's really far away and they don't have a good camera. The conversation is going to be limited. You're not going to see a lot. You're not going to be able to look at it. So it's quite possible that this entity is trying to communicate, trying to make its presence known, and it's having a hard time doing that. But it keeps trying. I mean, it doesn't seem like it's trying to really harm her in any way. It seems to be like, I just want to kind of freak her out a bit, But overall, I think it's a great discovery. I think it's a fantastic discovery that they found this. I mean, this is a piece of history for one thing, and the fact that it belonged to the previous owners, like that's kind of a dream for any paranormal investigator or historian or anybody that is a history buff or a history enthusiast, to find this and to find an antique, to find, this rare item. It goes to saying that she found something. I wouldn't have any regrets. I know she's having regrets right now about, whether or not she should be having this, but I think it's a good have this. I don't know what's going on with Prism.
Or just what do you think is going on here? Let me know down in the comments.
I think it's more of like, hear
Off
me
the
out,
wall. Now this next clip is over.
Pausing it one more time. I think it's just like whatever the entity did, they pulled down the headphones, like it was like almost as if it was saying, hear me out here. Hear me out. Don't block me out. Because what do headphones do? They block out sound. So I think it's more of like, hear me out. I'm trying to communicate with you. And you kind of have to think in between the lines. You have to think like the Riddler. You kind of have to go, okay, well, if you were, just put yourself in the spirit's position. If you're in a different plane of existence, if you're let's say that you're an alien and you come to this planet and you don't have a way of communicating, what are you going to do? You're going to find ways of communicating. You might hold on to objects. You might, you know, obviously this person doesn't, you know, speak English, maybe. You know, the person that you doesn't speak your language, not necessarily English, they speak something different. And how would you do that? You can't write it out in the sand. You can't do that. So you kind of have to think, what would a ghost do if they were trying to get your attention? So I really think that was a sign right there. Like, hear me out, listen to me. I have something to say. You're blocking me out because you're freaking out. And I think that it's frustrated. It's frustrated because there is so much emotional anguish on the other side, I'm telling you. If people are thinking that the dead stay dead, I don't think they know. I don't think they're watching these videos, man. Because it's a very active... They have love lives. They have all sorts of things that they're on the other side that I can't even explain because I don't understand it myself. But, I mean, I don't understand everything. But I know that spirits do have a very active life. They have a lot of things going on. And it's very emotional to have to, how emotional would it be if you're in a world that you can't communicate with anybody else? Like, you don't have a form of communication. Your words are just going to come out. And some of these words come out very garbled. And I'm going to say, I mean, there's been a couple of times where I was playing with some apps on my phone that I heard, you know, a disembodied voice. You know, that's only happened a couple of times with me, with the disembodied voices. That's the only time that's happened for me. But, you know, that's just me. I can't speak for yours. Suggested by Ana Lopez.
12 years old and was filmed with someone's phone pointed at a CCTV screen. So, obviously, it's
More shitty
complete
footage.
potato quality. But the clip was so strange that I just had to include it in the list.
Oh, my life
Now,
is
this
potato.
video was filmed in the Ciudadela Plaza in Guadalajara, Mexico.
Did
Through
you
the
see the
years,
Walmart?
many workers and shoppers at the plaza claim to have experienced strange, unexplained events.
It's
Workers say that
Walmart.
they often hear a child running and playing
Have you been
in the
there
dead
before?
of night. And many shoppers
freaks
claim to have
come
seen a
out
little
at
boy
night,
who'd been
man.
vanished right before their eyes.
They do.
So late one night, after closing, security guards at the plaza spot a lone little boy running through the back hallways, all alone. Some plaza workers are reviewing the footage, and they are shocked by what they see.
Yes. The quality of a toaster. I love it. It's so fantastic. No, look, he put his foot up.
The little boy seems to disappear right through a closed and locked door in one of the hallways, perhaps even right through the actual wall. A security guard is dispatched to go find the little boy, and things get even creepier.
Yet again, someone's brave enough to actually go and investigate. So, respect to you. Respect to yourself. Well, madam. I ain't found shit. Look, there it is. No shit.
The security guard unlocks the door and goes in, but finds no one inside the locked room. But the plaza workers watch in disbelief as the little boy's head appears again right beside the guard.
Hi.
He seems to be peeking right out of the actual wall above
like,
the man's head.
Hello.
So could this be the little boy ghost that plaza shoppers claim to see? Let me know what you think. The Akita Phantom. This next creepy clip comes from Cuernavaca, Mexico. Now, the ancient Aztecs believed the land of Cuernavaca was a sacred place, inhabited by spirits. Later, when the Spanish invaded the area, they told of strange occurrences, eerie sounds in the night, unexplained movements, and what they called, quote, restless spirits.
Yeah.
Fast forward to today. And a man in Cuernavaca has a CCTV camera set up to monitor his
Oh,
3 dogs
vicious.
every night. On December 7th, just after 4 a.m., something happens that is downright chilling.
So chilling. You got your dogs. Oh! The dog is like... The dog is like reacting the same way. It's just like very spooked. I would be very spooked. It's like, look at that face that he's
Suddenly,
making.
with
It's
no
just like-
explanation, the kennel seems to be aggressively yanked forward
I
and
don't
then
feel
to the
safe
side. The dog leaps up and bolts out of the kennel in a panic, confused and growling at something. The nervous pup cautiously investigates, seemingly trying to figure out what just happened.
What the hell
Moments
happened?
later, the third dog walks into the room, clearly alarmed by the commotion.
He's like,
The new doggy just kind of sits and stares at the other dog in the kennel,
He's
seeming
like-
to wonder what the hell
know what
was all
happened?
that. But
yeah, I love it. The dogs are just like, do you know what happened? I don't know what happens. You know what happened? No, I heard something. Yeah, well, I heard something too. I felt something move. Something just like moved my kennel out of nowhere, and yeah. He does not look happy about it. Like, he's kind of like, I'm not happy about this. Are you? No, I'm not happy about this. They don't. They seem to be in agreement. It seems.
what caused the kennel to move so violently? Was it an unseen force? Did the dog randomly just kind of spaz out? Or was it something paranormal on the old Cuernavaca land? As always, you decide.
Well, considering that it's
Head off.
that it's CCTV footage, people don't really fake CCTV footage all that often, and maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see people going out of their way to do that. It's specifically, normally what I see, and it depends, I guess, on what you're looking for. Normally what I see with these is that you have a phenomenon, and it's a person with their phone, and they're kind of forcing themselves not to smile, and they're running, and for a moment there you kind of believe them. And sometimes there are these YouTubers that know that they're, they don't go out of their way to say that they are fakes, but it's kind of fairly obvious that that's what they're doing. There's a couple of people that are online that will pretend that they're investigating houses, and it's quite humorous, and I find the humor in that. But they're not cheating people, because they actually tell them that they're scripted. It's obvious that they're scripted. It's obvious that they're acting, and it's harrowing. It's chilling, but the graphics are harrowing and chilling. But I kind of know how some of that stuff is done, because I'm a horror fanatic, so I understand. How does he have long arms? Well, you have freaking stilts. Have you not seen The Dark Crystal? Have you not seen the stilts for The Dark Crystal? I think that should be classified as a horror movie. It terrified me as a child. I love it now, but as a child, I don't think I was ready for it. Now it's an awesome movie. I love it, but I think I enjoyed it. It just was very overstimulating for me as a kid. It's the same with. But now they're my favorite movies, and I enjoy them. But I think that's real, because first of all, you're thinking, okay, well, it's Mexico. There's earthquakes over there. The San Andreas Fault, though, all of that, that kind of thing. You think it's an earthquake, but if it was an earthquake, all of those kennels would have moved. If you notice, it's just one individual kennel that moved, so that suggests that this was targeted. So I don't know what the spirit was trying to do. I think a lot of the times the spirits aren't necessarily being aggressive. They're just trying to interact with this world, and they don't quite know how, because maybe they just died. Maybe they just came from a different dimension and they don't know where the fuck they are, and they're just like, oh my gosh, I don't remember this level of the astral plane. Where am I? Oh gosh, I'm at a dog kennel again. I don't know why I'm here again. Oh shit. Well, I can imagine, because, you're thinking, oh, you're putting too much of a human perspective, but you have to, because spirits, some of them are very human because they used to be human, or they've been around humanity for a long time, and they don't necessarily lose that part of themselves. They don't lose that part of who they are just because they're dead. They're very much themselves. They just they don't know how to interact. And I've seen spirits that are very awkward, and it's funny kind of talking with an awkward spirit, because an awkward spirit is just like, it's like this and it's like that, and you do this, and you kind of have to guess what they're kind to say. So thankfully I'm psychic and clairvoyant, and I kind of know what they're going to say. I also have, an ability to, telepathically connect to spirits as well. So, I kind of understand, I can kind of read them a little bit and realize what they're going to say. I have a good idea. I don't necessarily know exactly what's on their mind, but I can tell by their emotions. I can tell by, what's going on. But spirits have to go through trial and error, just like we do. And putting that in perspective, they make mistakes. And I don't think they're necessarily being aggressive. I think they're just trying to figure out their way in the world that they're in. And nobody asked them. Nobody's. And some of these spirits don't have any instructions whatsoever. They're not told. They're not set. They're not told. Oh yeah, so this is how you do it. It's not like Beetlejuice, where you get a pamphlet or a booklet. You don't get a book that tells you this is what we're doing. It's just kind of thrown at you, and they're alive one moment, and then they're in the astral plane the next. So they're trying to figure out. So I tell people to be patient with the ghosts that are around them, whether it's their family members, a family, a friend. Just be patient with them, especially if it's somebody that you love or cared about and still love. Be patient with them, because they don't understand sometimes how powerful they are. They don't understand how to use the gifts that are given to them. So they kind of just are fumbling along. They're just like we are. They're going without a script. They're trying to do whatever, and we can go around and say, well, it's just Satan, it's just demons. I'm just like, I'm gonna say, I don't know how many of these are I don't know, like, the statistical amount of these are just demons, because I don't have problems with demons. I don't have problems with them. I'm fine. They protect my home. They don't disturb anybody. They keep to themselves for the most part. Sometimes they'll chase me through the hall on occasion. There's been a couple of them that have tried to grab my feet, and which sounds terrifying, but it's more annoying than anything, because I'm trying to just get to plan B to plan A to plan B. Okay, now I'm doing it backwards. That's the problem. Maybe that's why it's the best stuff. You're not doing it in order. No, that's not why. But yeah, I kind of do let them know. When something isn't working, I'm gonna say, okay, when I'm going down the hall, do not grab my ankles while I am passing the bathroom. Okay, don't do that. That's not cool. It's not working. whatever you're doing that's trying to get my attention, what do you want? Like, what is it that you need? That took me about 3 times to let this demon know that, but eventually they complied, and it hasn't happened in a while, and I guess they've moved on to doing other things, maybe haunting other places, I don't know. But I have noticed a couple of things move around, you know, occasionally. I've seen some fun, like, and my family will kind of notice it too. They'll see something that will just kind of just slightly fall off, and of course I'll just brush it aside and say, well, it was probably on the edge, right? It was on the edge of something. So that's probably the problem. It was just on the edge of something. So, and then I've had things like individual lights turn off on their own, and I've had situations like that. But you know, I try not to take it too seriously because I don't want to be in that state of what's that, what's this, what's over there. Oh, I know it's something. I know it has something to do with something paranormal. So not everything is paranormal. Some things, you know, settle in the kitchen. You know when you put your dishes on the kitchen. You know, you put your dishes on the rack, and they might settle a bit, and they might make a noise. Now it's a different thing if they're being thrown across the room. But for the most part, the things that go on in the house, it's usually because I either put it there or because I mistakenly was a klutz and it came out of my hands. So I'm just gonna say, most of what goes bump in the night is probably me. It's probably me. We can all agree with that. If you're a klutzy person and you don't look where you're going and you're half asleep and you're going to go to the bathroom, you're going to have those issues. You're going to be like, yeah, running into a wall, bouncing off all the walls, you know, because your eyes aren't open yet, so you're like, Pop-Tarts sound good. Yeah, and you're kind of just like going around doing that. So, yeah, it's usually me that goes bump in the night. So, you know, and occasionally I'll hear some things here and there, but nothing really to be concerned about. I'm not really concerned about, like, oh, is this thing gonna you know, make things float? Is it gonna cause phenomena? I wish that I had that in my house to where things were like floating in midair, but my spirits don't do that. You know why? Because they don't perform. They don't fucking perform. They're not performers. They're not gonna do a trick because you tell them to. You know, they don't work for peanuts. They don't work for anybody. They live in a different dimension. Do you think that they're going to take orders from you? They live in another dimension. They could be gods or angels or whatever they are. And they don't give a shit. They're just like, I've got bigger fish to fry. I don't need to levitate things for you. And I wish that were the case. You know, I got haunted objects. I got haunted vessels for that. Kind of hoping that something like that would happen, but you know, when it came down to it, I realized I was actually just kind of recruiting family members. I was just bringing more family. I'm just adding to my spiritual family here, because I realized that they're alive. They're alive. When you get a haunted vessel, it's alive. It has an actual like sentient being inside, and it's free. It's usually free. It's like not bound to that vessel too. Like they can move around and shit. Like you know, and they can do crazy stuff. You know, I don't think people realize that. They think that they're gonna get some, you know, they think they're gonna get a Chucky doll. No, it's not a Chucky doll. It's not gonna do fun little things and roam around the house with a knife in its hand. It's not going to be fun like that. I wish dolls were like that, but for the most part, most people that have haunted vessels, not a lot happens. It's just like, you know, as long as all the spirits get along, it's fine. You know, I double check with my spirits before I get one. So if I go on eBay and I'm like, I will do whatever. If they say, I don't like that, like, I don't want that here, then I will respect that, because I know that's not something that should be in the home. So I totally get it, and I understand that spirits have preferences as well. You know, we all have people that we don't like to get along with, or we don't like to be around. We have people that we don't like to see, that we don't want to know, we don't have to deal with their drama. And it's very much the same with spirits. They all have different personalities. So some of them are going to be like, yeah, I don't like you. You're not, you know, sometimes there's just two personalities that just don't mix. They don't mix. And it has nothing to do with who that person is as a person. It just is, when they get together, there's a chemical reaction that is so severe that it brings out toxicity on either end. And people get in relationships like that, and it sometimes develops over time, but sometimes there's people that just instantly just don't like each other. They just look at one another and just go, yeah, I don't like you. I don't like you either. You know, so it's something to be said. We all have different energy, and sometimes our energies don't mesh. And since spirits are primarily energy, it's very important that you you know, make sure that their needs are met as well. I mean, obviously, there's not a lot you need to do for spirits. If you have a spirit in your home, it's kind of all between you and the spirit. You know what I mean? It's like, some people will be like, I believe in chocolates and tangerines and lemon peels, and I'm like, shit, you're really into this. Wow. I just kind of say hi to them every once in a while. I don't really like, oh gosh, you're full on spiritual there. You know, you're doing the you know, the you know, Day of the Dead offering stuff, and I respect that, obviously, you know, because, but I haven't had like spirits that actually like want certain offerings. They usually just want, yeah, they don't typically do anything. But I have had, typically so when you bring something into your home, typically what happens is the phenomenon will probably happen right away, or it'll happen gradually and get more intense, or it may be just one of those intermittent things where it just happens every once in a while. You know, it's not a normal thing. It's just like, oh, okay, we're gonna do stuff now.
Eric Cannon and his dance troupe from Tacloban City, Philippines traveled to Sydney, Australia for a dance competition. Late one night, around midnight, the group is waiting for their train at Sydney Central Station when they notice something truly bizarre across the tracks.
Hindi, walang ulo. Guys, maka-MJS to.
Guys, maki-MJS tayo, guys!
An older woman can be seen standing on the platform, and, well, she doesn't seem to have a head.
Well,
And just when you think this might be a mannequin or some kind of illusion, the woman clearly takes a step forward, moving as if nothing is wrong. But things get even weirder, because this eerie phenomenon is not just happening in Australia. In the very same month, a young boy in UT Singapore was filming a video on his way to school to show his family the town's brand new water park. But after sharing the video in his family group chat, his Uncle Dennis spotted something very odd. As the boy pants his phone to the sidewalk, he unknowingly captures what looks like the figure of a headless man casually standing on the street.
Okay.
The boy's uncle shared the footage with the
Why didn't I think of this before? Okay. First of all, I happen to know how they do this effect. I've been in theater. I've been places. I haven't been on a movie set, but I can tell you that it's a very simple effect to do. Obviously, you get a suit that's really like way too big, and you put like what you would call like kind of the body armor of a football player, and you would kind of structure that, and then you would have like obviously a sheet or a film right under the chest or a little bit lower depending on how tall you are, and then you can just move around as much as you please. It's a very simple effect. It's not rocket science, okay? But yeah, it's not rocket science. That's a very easy effect to do, and I'm really surprised that people didn't come up with that. I mean, this is just an old theater trick, really. You could do it if you can find DIY projects on this, literally. And I think a lot of these videos are mostly meant for discussion. You know what I mean? They have a little bit of, some of these obviously are really true. Like they really happened, and they're done by real paranormal investigators. Then we have some people that are just obviously TikTokers that want some views, and they use some cheap effects to make it possible. And this right here, I think, is just really a prank. Obviously, you know, someone is playing with people. They're trying to do the Headless Horseman thing, and I was actually in a Headless Horseman play, so I know what's kind of required to do that. I don't remember who was doing the Headless Horseman. I don't remember his name. It was such a long time ago. I was a teenager. I don't really want to like rehash that. Just saying, that's kind of it's a weird time in my life. Lots of trauma tied up in that in that time. So, but it's a very simple effect. People have been using it for years, probably since there has been a Headless Horseman thing going on. It's mystifying, but since that's kind of a 100-year-old trick, it's about as old as probably the Pepper's Ghost Effect. And in case you don't know what the Pepper's Ghost Effect is, it's where there is a mirror that goes all the way down. It goes from, it's a sheet of glass that goes all the way down the stage. And the way this works is there's a candle or a light source that's at the bottom. And since they didn't have electricity, we have electricity now, so it's a lot easier to do that. It would reflect an image upwards using science. This is the scientific thing, and it would look like it was an apparition. It was really just smoke and mirrors. What it was, literal smoke and mirrors, and it is still used to this day in Haunted Mansion in Disneyland. I don't think it's used in Disney World, it's used in Disneyland. And there's a whole underground thing of mirrors and figures that have to move. And so everything is underground. And that's why you shouldn't touch anything. So if you see anything, any cobwebs or stuff, or something that looks like it's on something solid, that is actually the mirror that helps the effect. Please don't touch it. Please don't do anything to it. Somebody already tried to do that. There was a 17-year-old boy that tried, apparently he tried shooting a BB gun at it or something, and they couldn't really repair it, because in order to repair it they had to probably remove part of the roof, because the roof, this glass, this mirror goes all the way to the top of the roof where you see Gracie killing himself, all the way down to the bottom levels where everything is. And if you think I'm ruining anything for you, you can find YouTube videos about this. I'm not, like, this is how I've educated myself. YouTube! It's what I do! So yeah, this is a very old effect. I am really surprised that nobody is... I wonder if anybody's seeing this and going, I literally did this for Halloween, you know? Like, come on, Heidi Klum probably did this, you know what I mean? So it's just like... But I understand that some of these are supposed to spark this discussion. These aren't supposed to be like 100% accurate. I think people get they get to be the fact Karen, the fact police. They're like, oh my gosh, this is so inaccurate. Like, this is, the amount of inaccuracies is just not cool, man. Well, they never did. Okay, this is how I know that that Nuke is a decent guy. He never says that this stuff is real. He never says that it's real, that it's 100% accurate, that this really was happening. He's leaving it to you to decide whether or not it's true. So he could explain everything to you. He could diss all of you and just say, you know, to hell with it. I don't give a shit what you have to say. But I think he's really honestly curious about what people will have to say. That's the reason he does these videos, because people are going to say things. They're going to go around, people like me are going to say things, and this is good. So I'm actually helping promote him. You're welcome. Don't need to thank me. I'm fine. You don't need to thank me. I'm just so happy that I could react to your awesome badass videos. That's really I am. I'm thankful that we have people that do this, that put this stuff out here, because
YouTube channel Supernatural Confessions, and the video quickly went viral. So, what do you think? Did two different people really capture headless figures just walking among us?
I don't know if you've noticed, those people are freaking huge. Have you noticed the shoulders on them? It's because it has to give you an illusion that there's no head. And so this part of it has to be really
well,
bulky.
As always, you decide.
You notice how unnatural that is? Like, he's just kind of standing.
Scream.
Like, he's like...
Jorge Cruz claims that he is haunted by a dark entity. He says that many strange paranormal things have happened to him, but nothing as crazy as what he recorded late one night near the end of December. Just as Jorge is about to go to bed, he hears strange noises and gets up to investigate. And that's when things take a terrifying turn.
That was your first mistake, Jorge.
Oh my God. There was like some...
Oh my gosh! And I thought those were eyes, too.
What the f*** is that?
I thought those were eyes.
You gotta be kidding me! Who goes there? Who goes there? That cannot be f***ing real. What the f***? You gotta be kidding me. What the f*** was that? You gotta be f***ing kidding me.
Yeah. Okay.
Here
comes Kevin.
I swear to God, this gotta be a f***ing joke. Whoever's in here, I command you to leave in the name of Jesus Christ. I ask you to leave now.
Leave, please.
Oh, f***. Oh, f***. I got adrenaline going right through my body.
Oh, yeah, I know. I'd imagine. I'd imagine.
What the f*** is that? What the f***? Who goes there? You gotta be f***ing kidding me.
Okay, quick note. Okay. I'm gonna quote something. And this is actually from a movie. I believe it's from one of the scary movies. And it's a point where Jonah Hill gets possessed. And he says, by the power of Christ compel you. And he says, is it Jeff? Because I don't think it's really that compelling. And that is actually really a lot funnier. It's funnier now because, you know, my perspectives have changed. And I'm not quite as uptight as I used to be. You know, I'm more easygoing, more accepting. I'm a better person, you know. I am than I was in the old days, you know, where in the Middle Ages of my life. I think I am in the Middle Ages of my life. No, I'm just joking. Yeah, so, and the reason for this, okay, I understand. Your faith is sacred, and it's a beautiful thing. And if Jesus is your higher power, don't let go of that. Don't let anybody take that away from you. But the thing is, there are spirits that literally don't know Christ. They don't understand who Christ is, and they probably don't even care. So, naming off, you know, you could name off in the name of Saint Malone of the Post. You know, that's who my mom worships, by the way. Saint Malone of the Post. And you could say, in the name of Saint Malone of the Post, I exorcise you. And I'm just gonna say, if you're a scripture reader, this is something that can actually happen. And this was, I think, in Acts, believe it or not, in the Bible, which I rarely quote because I don't want controversy, but it actually says, so these people, they had this like ego because, you know, Peter or Paul was going around, and he says, by the power of Peter, by the power of Paul, by the power of Doritos, by the power of blah 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 blah, Jesus and all that good stuff. And they said, we know Jesus, we know Peter, we know Paul, but who are you? Who are you? Who, you know, they don't care. They might respect the words that you're saying, but they may not respect you. So, you are more powerful than you think you are, but also know that you're not always going to be an exception just because you say Jesus' name, just because you're going out there. And I would like to believe that there's some magic words that'll just make them go away. But as you can clearly see, it doesn't work the way that you planned. You can say all the pretty words. You can say it 10 times a day. You can fast and pray and do all of that shit and count all the rosary beads and sprinkle the holy water on there. And I can tell you, sometimes it just won't work. Is it because your faith is at fault? No. Is it because your God isn't real? No. It's because it's the spirit that you're dealing with. There are spirits out there that specifically need to be treated by certain physicians, certain practitioners, and they may not respect you. They may not respect the next guy that comes. They may not respect anybody. And when you have an unreasonable spirit like this is a problem. This is a problem because this is a spirit that does not have boundaries. They don't give a fuck. They are just, I'm gonna scream Bloody Mary, and when you tell me to stop, I'm gonna get in your face. I'm gonna be aggressive. So this is the kind of spirit you don't want to have in your house. You don't want it to be there. I've only come in contact with these kind of spirits on, as I said, I don't go out of my way to look for these spirits because, you know, they know your home address. They can follow you. They can find out where you live. They can find out your phone number. They can find out just about everything if they want to. But they don't know everything. They know what's been told to them, because there are spirits that's all they do is watch. And there's a reason for this. They have networks. They have, you know what, I saw so-and-so doing this. And they communicate similarly the way that we do. You know, they heard it on the grapevine. Sometimes they have informants. They have people that will specifically watch your house. That's why you're going to see shadows. You're going to see that kind of thing, because shadows are usually a foretelling of something else that's a lot darker that's happening. So, also another thing, there's no way of knowing if there are multiple spirits sometimes. Sometimes it can be just one, but as you know, every spirit has a gift. So one may just be there to creep you out, and another may be the one that's actually moving the furniture. Maybe they have screamers in the afterlife. I don't know. Maybe they're like, You know, Shirley is such a good screamer. She's just so fantastic. I think I would like to hire her. Oh, which house is it? Well, it's that house that's you know by that tree. Yeah, I know where that is. That's gonna be great. Do you think that we should go over to that house? I just think, I think they've got a networking. I think they've got a system. I really do think they're organized. I don't think a lot of these things are random. I think a lot of these things are actually, that they're intentionally doing it. But it also may be the fact, and this may be the case, that if you ignore someone enough, like anybody, I'm just going to say anybody, if you ignore anybody, dog, animal, child, adult, anything that's on this earthly plane, okay, besides spirits, you're going to find that something is lost when you isolate someone. There's something that's taken from them, but something that's lost also. And it's lost to the point where, and there's something, so when you're not able to speak and no one hears you, you lose your voice. And then you simmer over it. You think about it, it boils over, and then you get to the point where you just can't take it anymore. You cannot take it anymore. You have to say something. And what that comes off as, you finally find your voice, it comes off as a scream, as an absolute scream. You have to shout to be heard. And it's overkill, it's over the top. That's what this might be. Maybe this spirit is just not being heard. Maybe she had a hard day at work. I don't know what was going on with this situation. It looks like a bad situation, but on the other hand, it could be just, it may be a very simple case of, it might be just one of those very simple cases where, they're just frustrated. Or maybe this really is an angry spirit, or it's several of them, and it's hard to say because these videos are so short. But let's see.
Close? Oh,
Such a brave man.
Gosh.
Such a brave man.
what the is that? Guys, you gotta be kidding me. What's the thing?
Huh?
I'm getting a headache badly. I'm getting a fucking headache
Because
badly.
you're stressed out. I'm sorry.
You gotta be kidding me.
Oh my gosh, we're having a
Jorge hears
tantrum.
strange blood-curdling screams, and as he goes in search of the source, he starts to hear loud banging and the sound of something moving around. Jorge himself starts to scream even louder than the ghost. And finally, Jorge re-enters his kitchen to find that even though the room had been in perfect order just seconds before, now all of his cabinets are open and his furniture seems to have been tossed to the floor.
Wow.
So is Jorge experiencing a violent haunting by an evil entity or a poltergeist?
I'm not saying that spirits aren't powerful, but this suggests that there's more than one. There is more than one entity in this house, and this is why. There was somebody screaming in the other room. They can't be every place at once, okay? Some of them can, but not all of them can do that, okay? There's some that can do that, and that's good for them, but when you are on a job, you take your buddies with you to do the work, okay? You're doing a construction work. You get some other people to do the work with you. And I don't know what this work is, but this sounds like, at first I was thinking to myself, oh, maybe it's premenstrual age or something. I don't know. It's one of those things. But I don't think they have menstrual troubles in the afterlife. I hope to God that they don't. that would really suck if they did. That would be really bad. That would be horrible. It would be so bad. But this is suggesting that possibly this could be, I mean, if it could be that this entity, and I'm not going to say it's a demon, I'm not going to say it's whatever, I'm just going to say whatever it is possibly on a rampage, possibly just is really, really mad, and is using their energy to just send a wave of just havoc in its wake. And that may be the case, I don't know. Or it may be multiple spirits, which means this is completely intentional. But I'm getting this feeling of that this is one entity. Okay, you know, I know I said originally that this could be proof of several of them, but I am thinking to myself, because things are so real and they seem to be in such stream. Now that I'm actually looking at this, because I was thinking, oh, of course it's going to be multiple, you know, multiple stab wounds. No, it's going to be multiple, and you know, I like to think that there's some organization here, but I think that this is a very distraught spirit. Possibly nobody told them that nobody told them about the afterlife. Nobody said, hey, by the way, when you cross over, you might want to do this and you might want to do that. You know, somebody didn't get their recently deceased handbook, I have a feeling. And sometimes these things don't have instructions, but whatever this is if this is, in the possibility that this is just one entity, it is very powerful and very angry, and I hear a lot of frustration, but a lot of anguish in that scream. Like, I hear somebody that has been through a lot, who's been through like a tremendous amount of pain, and wants to be heard badly. And I think it's gotten to the point where they can't control it. They are too upset at this point. At this point, the only thing that you can do is leave, because it's like anything. If you're going to talk to somebody that is like really mad, I don't know if you've tried to talk to people that are really mad. It's like talking to a brick wall. So I would leave the house for a little bit, and kind of, if this is what's happening in your home, I would sympathize with the spirit. I would say something, because if it's not evil intent, it's not intending evil, and it's just been pushed to the limit. Because when you push someone hard enough, you can get them to do horrible things. Humanity does horrible things when they're pushed. Just imagine what a spirit is capable of when they're pushed. So it's kind of like, okay, here we go. So she was crying but screaming at the same time, which is just incredible pain, incredible sorrow. Something happened to her. She just probably didn't transition the right way. She wasn't told anything about what was going to happen to her after she died. Maybe she thinks that this is hell. I don't know. I don't know what she's thinking, but I would leave the house for maybe a couple hours, then come back, and then very calmly, I just would pretend, you know, I would just go about my day as if it was still my house. And I would say, I hear your pain. I hear your crying and your screaming. You've made it very clear to me that you're unhappy. And I want to let you know that I'm here to listen to you. I'm here to hear when you're ready to tell your story. Let me know about it, because I really want to know. I really want to know your story. I want to know what got you to this point, you know? What got you to this point that you had the need to destroy, to knock everything over? Don't lecture them. Just say, first of all, I would compliment them. I would say, you know, that's really impressive that you knocked over all those chairs, and tables. Can you put them back? No, I don't. That would piss them off. So I want to help you, and if that means you know, helping you cross over to the other side, or helping you adjust to your new life here, then I'm going to do that. I'm going to do everything possible within reason to help you, because obviously something's going wrong, something is not right, you need some help, and I think I can help you. You know, if it was me, I don't think we'd have a problem, to be honest. I you know, me and my boyfriend are like that. You know, we see some phenomenon of whatever it is, and we just say, look, this isn't working. You know, you switching the channels and doing that shit, sending the shadows, holding onto my ankles, it's not working. I'm not saying you need to change up your tactics, but and also just say to them, say, hey, you are fucking terrifying me. You are scaring me. I have a headache right now. I don't feel good. And making me feel unsafe in my home is not going to help you any. It's not going to help you. It might give you some sick satisfaction, but that's going to be a fleeting amusement right there, then and there. That's not going to be that enjoyable. Oh no, he's terrified. Although, to be honest, his screams are pretty entertaining. He's like, what? You know, I don't know if I can imitate it, but it is so genuine. That scream is so genuine. And no, I'm not trying to discredit him. I believe he is a brave man. He's shaking and he's still investigating. He's still trying to figure it out. And he's taking all of his strength. That is a man right there facing his fears. That is somebody that is embracing their you know, their strength there. But that scream is so, it makes me laugh. It really does, because not because I don't think it's genuine. I think it's genuine. I think that's a real thing. He's shaking. I really do believe that this is a genuine haunting, because it's so uncut. He's all over the place. You can see him clearly shaking. He can't control his hands. And he is, you can just, I can feel his, like, I can just imagine seeing him, like, suddenly I'm just getting this vision, and maybe this is just my imagination, but I'm suddenly getting this vision of him being very sweaty at this point. I think he's sweating balls at this point. He is just sweating bullets right now. He is shitting bricks. I think he is absolutely terrified and is in the midst of being, you know, he wants to go. This is where I would not go home alone. I would get somebody that you trust. I would get somebody that was stronger, because I can tell you, I was in a haunted theater all by myself, and the woman was shutting down, and she didn't know that we were up there. So all of a sudden the lights are off, and there are mirrors. We're by the bathroom upstairs, and there are mirrors. People have died making this theater. This theater, people died making this theater. Like, it was cursed. It was said to be cursed. It was like the walls of Jericho. It's like, you know, you'll build this wall on your sons and your sons' sons. And it was kind of like that, you know, like, I don't know how many people died, but it was like 18, 14. And so I was just thinking to myself, mirrors are not my friend, okay? Mirrors are not my friend. I don't know why the fuck they decided to put mirrors on either side of the women and the men's bathrooms, but they did. So all I know is I was holding on to my aunt. My aunt was terrified, and I just said, follow me. And I was almost proud of myself, because I realized I am a leader. I can take charge. People told me, you know, I'm not assertive enough. No, when it comes down to it, I can take charge. I can tell people, this is what's going on. We're going to be going here. I'm not going to be rude about it. I'm not going to have an ego about it. I don't have much of an ego anyway. I'm just going to be saying, we need to go this way. We need to do this. And I held on to her, and I instinctively knew where the stairs were. I opened up my eyes just enough, but I did not look behind me because I was like, I know bad things are going to happen when I look behind me because there's just enough light from the city to actually see something fucking creepy. So I decided, you know, and she was terrified. It was pretty much all dark, so I grabbed a hold of my aunt, and we went down the stairs, and finally, you know, as we went down the stairs, I realized we're safe, it's fine, and so I went down the stairs, and the woman that was closing up the theater said, "Oh, I'm so sorry, so I didn't know you were still up there," because we were, I think, you know, using the bathroom or something. I don't know what we were doing up there. Probably using the bathroom, I'd imagine. I don't think that we'd be going up there for any other reason. Mind you, it was an ugly kind of theater, but it was interesting. I never saw anything, never felt anything. Although everybody did say that they saw, like, the shadow of an usher that was there. And so, everyone had a paranormal experience there, so that was cool. And, but other than that, I didn't see anything. But the real show was when we went outside. So, I don't remember what my aunt was doing, but, you know, her ADHD was acting up and she had to do, like, some things. For some reason, we had to sit there in the car. Like, she was in the car, I was in the car, and we're just sitting there. And, you know, we're just sitting there, and all I know is I'm sitting there, so I watched the woman who is closing up the shop lock the door. She locks the door, it's closed, there's nobody else in there. We know, we were in there. We knew for a fact there was nobody else in there, okay? She probably double-checked to see. You know, and I knew there was no one in there. But, you know, I was looking at the sights and sounds, so I just sat there and just stared at the window. And very slowly, these slitted shadows kind of started to appear. Very, very slowly, and it just happened. This happened over like 10, 20 minutes, and I was trying to figure out what source of light it was coming from, because there's no lights in, and all the other lights, they just weren't hitting in the right direction. The way that those shadows were, it had to have been a light that was behind. And, all the other lights were over here and over there, and those would have just reflected off the window. It wouldn't have been dramatic. It just, you know, I was using my brain and actually saying, okay, well, that doesn't make sense. So, and she's like, well, I don't think it's anything. And finally, she had to look. I was like, look. Oh, it's probably not anything. And I just look at my aunt. I said, look. Look at that. Look at it. And she's like, that wasn't there before. She says, yeah, I've been slowly watching this unfurl in front of me. Like, with horrified fascination, I'm sitting there looking. And she's like, I think we should get out of here. And I was like, yeah, we probably should. We probably should get out of here. And we did. But it was a good experience, and it was a nice little theater. It was a stupid-ass movie. I think we watched Where the Crawdads Sing or something. It was so boring. My aunt fell asleep during it several times, so. Spoilers. Anyway, I'm probably going to be back doing more commentary for this, because this is actually really interesting, because from my perspective, being a spiritual person, having experiences, now I have more experiences under my belt, and I can say, you know, I can compare my experiences, because I've had quite a few experiences, just in my own home alone, really. I mean, I can tell you, you know, if you want to find experiences, you don't automatically have to leave your home. You don't have to do that. You can actually just, you know, heck, you can astral travel, use a Ouija board, use a crystal. you can, whatever you want to do. Maybe you have some summoning rituals that you do, I know of some magic practitioners and witches that do use summoning tools all the time. And so if you got that going, yeah, there you go. So anyway, I'm gonna check out, and hopefully I will be going live soon.